Hi everyone, I just finished the first episode of Ticket to Heaven, the new series starring Gemini and Fourth that takes place in like 1996, I believe, at a seminary school. And the very first episode was really good. Really good. There was one thing that I'm going to start with the thing that bugged me. Okay, there's two things that bugged me. One, when he said it's almost been 20 years. So if that wouldn't be making us think that he's seen him after school, because like it's been 30 years since they were in school, because it was 2026 where the episode started, and it flashed back to 1996. So that's 30 years. That's 30 years, not 20. So I don't know exactly what that was about. That was weird. And there's no way that Gemini's character is 47. Anyways. And then also I thought Gemini's character Barth had a red backpack, and then it looked like he had a black backpack. Anyways, just weird continuity things that for some reason get like a little worm in my brain, and I can't think anything else. But let's get into the episode. So I love how it started with that like disclaimer of sorts where I have it written down. It says, this series is a work of fiction inspired by questions that arise in the human heart. It's not intended to offend or pass judgment on any beliefs, religions, or individuals. I just thought that was such a beautiful way to start it, because no matter where you're coming from watching this series, it is something that causes reactions in people. So whether you grew up in a Catholic church, or you grew up just even as a Christian, or you didn't and you felt the effect, like it's just, I don't know, I just feel like majority of people watching this series is going to actually have like a reaction, emotional, physical, whatever reaction to what they're seeing. And I just like, I do want to tread carefully because it is such a sensitive topic. And again, I think I said in my reaction, I'm going to be coming at this from my perspective and my lived experience. And it's just crazy because like, I think back in like 1996, I was a teenager, trying to figure out your way. Oh God, like I was a teenager and I wasn't like in a Catholic church or anything like that. I don't know. I just think it's just an interesting parallel for me personally, having to like lived in middle school, high school at the same time as the story's taking place. And then we had the Bible verse, which was from Leviticus. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them, love them as yourself. So I just think that was also interesting. It kind of encapsulates this episode because I feel like Barth is like the foreigner coming into their space, and some are mistreating him, and some are going to love him. Anyways, I'm having a hard time getting my thoughts together, to be honest. But let's start at the beginning. So how crazy, I did not expect this series to open up in present day. Like, or what is it, 2025? In 2025. Like, I'm blown away. The fact that it's opening up when the marriage equality law was put into place in Thailand. Like, what a beautiful way to start this series. And that he's going back to this place that obviously had a huge impact in his life. Like, that was emotional. Like, I was already crying, but I did not anticipate to start here. And this is where my fears come into play. Okay. So we are starting. We know, obviously, Barth's okay. Barth's okay. The father's okay. We've seen them. We have not seen Fourth's character. And either, here's our options. Here's the options for Fourth's character. Number one, he is the one being ordained. That's possible. I think it would be, that's possible. He could be the one being ordained. Or it could be his friend. Number two, and God help me if this is the right answer, that Fourth's character has passed away, that he dies. that he is dead. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to be what happens. Or number 3, him and Gemini's character together. I don't know. Or 4, I guess they just drift away from each other. Those are the possible things of where he is. I really don't want him to be dead. Like, I'm super panicking about him dying. That would just suck. I don't want that. Anyways, my best case scenario is somehow those two are still together and they're in love, and it's the friend whose name I cannot remember who is getting ordained. So maybe we can just pretend. We can pretend, right? Like, just let me live in my fantasy world. All right, so that whole scene, that whole beginning scene, I'm still at the beginning of the show, was really well done, and it really impacted me a lot because, like, of him going and sitting there, and then, like, the father coming up and recognizing him, and then when he was, like, so surprised that he remembered him, and he's like, I remember all of you, like, really touched me because, like, I spent most of my life, like, even adult life, like, working with kids in a church setting. The biggest thing for me, as somebody who was caring for all of these kids, like, hundreds upon hundreds of kids in our community from, like, every walk of life that would come through. And the most important thing that I would tell myself, and I would tell anybody who was volunteering with me, I was like, know them. Like, just know them. Learn their names. Learn their hearts. Like, just be their friend and care about them. Like, that's the most important thing, is caring about them. And, like, I remember, like, all of them. So I don't know, just that scene of, like, him being like, of course I know who you are. Like, of course I know who you are. I remember all of you. Because, like, there's something about being known, you know, that is so impactful to your heart. So I don't know. Sorry, I'm, like, a big mess about that scene. And it's so, like, much at the start, and I don't know, I don't want to say it's so, like, not important, because I feel like it was a really important scene. I think it was a really important scene for Barth, too, because obviously he was a bit of a troublemaker in this series and in his past at that time. So, like, I think having that moment was, I don't know. We'll see at the end. We'll see if this even comes into play, and I don't know why it's affecting me as much as it is, but it did. I was already crying. What were we, like, less than 2 minutes, 3 minutes into the series? It was really good. The whole dynamic of the boys' school, it just feels so accurate and well represented and just so well done, and their dynamics are just so interesting, like, all of them. I'm loving the overall thing. I'm not loving the bullies, obviously, but, like, it's all part of the show. It's all part of the plot. It's all part of setting the scene that Bart's character has literally just walked into, and Fourth's character has been living in it since he was a child. Like, he's been there since the 7th grade. Who knows even how much earlier. So let's think about Barth. Barth's character. Barth's character has come at the very end of the final year of high school. It looks like he's probably gotten expelled from his previous one for fighting because that kid was calling him a derogatory name. And then he also said something very telling. He said, your father found you. So obviously something happened with Barth and his father, and he got caught, possibly, I'm guessing, with another boy. And this is the 90s. So that probably didn't go over very well. And obviously people have found out, and that's where that fight came, etc., etc. And now he has been sent to this seminary school to, like, find his path and get back in line, I'm guessing. That is, like, his story. In that, you can see he's so angry and rebellious and has no faith and believes God has abandoned him. That seems to be his overall character. And then we have Tanrak, Fourth's character, who has been there since he was like 11 years old. Since the 7th grade, he has like dedicated his whole life to how many deeds do I need to do? How good do I need to be? What life do I have to live in order to get into heaven to see my parents again? And that's so sad. Like, so seeing him at the end, that look of fear on his face because he feels like he's screwed up by being there, even though they did nothing wrong, made me really, really sad. And I feel like that's very telling already of his character, like just that fear that he had, and that like I don't know, like he doesn't want to screw up, and he doesn't want to screw up his chance to get into heaven to see his mom and dad. And that's really, really sad. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. I would love to hear your feelings on the first episode, and what you felt, and how what your thoughts are, and like where you think it's going, and no spoilers because I don't watch the previews for the next episode. But yeah, thanks guys so much for watching with me. I am very nervous about the series. I'm more nervous about where it's going, what it's going to give us, how it's going to make us feel, what people are going to be like. And I just really hope people aren't judgmental to others, because everybody has different lived experiences, so they're going to be impacted by shows like this differently, and nobody's right or nobody's wrong. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's it. All right. Okay.